From Chapel Hill, North Carolina, you are watching the ACC on ESPN. It's a big showdown here in early February in the ACC between the Pitt Panthers and the North Carolina Tar Heels. And a case can be made that there's not another game today with bigger stakes. Both are in Joe Lunardi's next 4 out. This morning, Joey Brackett said this is not a play-in game, but rather it is a play-out game. And welcome, everybody. With Chris Patola, I'm Doug Sherman. And indeed, for two teams, this is a get-right game with a lot riding on the outcome.
There is. There's a lot of season to play. Remember last year, the ACC tournament had a big role, the role, in sending NC State to the tournament. But when you're a bubble team, a lot of that is about what other bubble teams do. So when you're playing a fellow bubble team, it becomes really important. You know, both these teams, their best players have to play better. You know, you start with North Carolina. RJ Davis was expected to be an All-American coming into this season. And whoever North Carolina is moving forward, he has to be that guy. But what are teams doing with him? You know, the last two opponents, Pitt and Duke, they switched 1 through 5. And because you don't have perimeter shooting, teams are loading up on RJ Davis. I mean, look at them in the gaps. Cooper Flagg there. RJ Davis has to give it up. This possession here, he's got the ball. Look at Cooper Flagg playing off of the wing, off of Ian Jackson. Tyrese Proctor, they do not care about the perimeter being occupied. RJ Davis has to give it up and or take a tough shot.
Last 5 games, he has been shooting the ball better at 42%, but still his overall numbers are down from a year ago. Meanwhile, he'll be matched up against one of the more prolific duos in the ACC in terms of Jalen Lowe and Ishmael Leggett. They are two stat sheet stuffers. They need to score the ball. They need to involve others. They need to take care of the ball, and they need to defend. We'll take a break and come back with the starting lineups and the opening tip from the Dean E. Smith Center. A bubblicious game this afternoon between the Panthers and the Tar Heels. It's a Saturday afternoon here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Great crowd in the Smith Center for this game between two bubble teams, the Pitt Panthers and the North Carolina Tar Heels. With Chris Patola, I'm Doug Sherman. And to further illustrate how important it is, Hubert Davis, in his 4th year as head coach at his alma mater, they have played one close game after another. They have not come out on the right side of enough of them. Right now 13-10 overall, 6-5 in league play, but having lost 4 of their last 5 coming in. Meanwhile, some of the same questions on the other side for Jeff Capel III. His Panthers have also gotten a little sideways. They have lost 6 of their last 8, but one of the 2 wins during that stretch came against Carolina in Pittsburgh a week and a half ago. So there is recent history between these two teams, and once again they will tip it up with a lot on the line. Take a look at our starting lineups, and no surprises. Damian Dunn back for the last 8 games, now 9 games, trying to fit back in with Leggett and Lowe. Cam Corrin's having a nice season inside for Pitt, and Zach Austin, to me, is a terrific 3-and-D guy. Meanwhile, the guards, Davis, Cadeau, Trimble, along with the freshman Jackson and the former Notre Dame Fighting Irish who was at Vanderbilt last year, Van Allen Lubin, the junior from Orlando, in there jumping center against Corrin. And it's Pittsburgh with the basketball first in their blue uniforms with the gold lettering and white trim, and of course the Tar Heels in that familiar white with the Carolina blue. Leggett being hounded by Trimble. And here is Dunn playing with that wrap on his right hand that cost him several games earlier in the season. Still not right. Shot clock down to 3, and from the logo, Jalen Lowe, the sophomore from Missouri City, Texas, gets the scoring away.
Van Allen Lubin switched on to Jalen Lowe, and you cannot be surprised. Lowe takes a lot of tough shots. He has not shot it well from 3, only 26% in conference, but he's got an ultra green light.
Here is Cadeau, the 3rd leading assist man in the ACC. And then RJ Davis, consensus first team All-American a year ago, trying to get back to that form. Shot clock down to 3 from the corner, and it's good.
It's a big hit. You know, you saw that plug, Doug, that we talked about in the open. Teams are forcing you to have to kick. They're forcing Carolina to have to kick. A big opening salvo there from Seth Trimble to knock that one down.
Yeah, Trimble only 28% on the year coming in. Elliott Cadeau at only 31%. So if you're R.J. Davis, your options are limited if those guys aren't making shots.
Well, that's a big thing. You know, the guys around R.J. Davis, they don't demand attention in the same way some of their personnel did last year. You know, you had to guard Armando Bacot with a man and a half. You had to respect Harrison Ingram and Cormac Ryan. When you can't shoot, teams are going to load up in those gaps.
That foul was on Trimble, his first. Dunn strong to the bucket, and he's blocked by Lubin. Tar Heels back the other way. Leggett hustles back to steal the pass. Up ahead to Dunn, thought about it. Skip pass to the corner low. Good closeout by Trimble. And Lowe will bring it back out.
Those are the unforced turnovers Hubert Davis is trying to eliminate. Turnovers in the last two games have killed North Carolina.
Leggett has it rattle out. Now, this is Carolina's first game since the rough one last Saturday to Duke. And during that time, Coach Davis has been happy to be able to spend time in practice on Carolina more so than worrying about their opponents, and hoping that his players start to do more of the little things correctly. Cadeau lost it out of bounds off of Pitt. Carolina will keep with 12 in the shot clock.
You know, Pitt switched 1 through 5 in the first matchup, and Duke did it the other day. And, you know, at times it can stand Carolina up. You know, takes them out of the stuff they're running, forces those guards to play in isolation. A lot of one-on-one.
Davis fouled as he got into the lane. In that first game, Carolina led by as many as 10 late in the first half, but then they made some uncharacteristic mistakes that allowed Hubert Davis's team to lose most of that lead before the break. And then the second half, it was just all Pitt, Chris, that the Panthers played extremely well to come up with what was a big win at the time. Lubin shaping up on the block. They finally find him. Big size advantage, and he takes advantage.
A great recognition. You know, North Carolina was patient on that possession. If a team's going to switch 1 through 5, you've got to find a matchup. And there, Van Allen Lubin with the matchup on the smaller guard, Ish Leggett. Good post pass. Goes right over that left shoulder. Good execution.
And so the 6'8" junior from Orlando, as Dunn stepped into the lane early, no problem as Lubin completes the three-point play after having been fouled by Leggett. Pittsburgh with a basketball, down 6-3 early. Warren sets the ball screen, and here goes the left-hander Lowe. Lost his footing, and fortunate to keep possession as Carolina's Ian Jackson was the last to touch.
You have got to make Jalen Lowe play with his right hand. He is a completely different player when you make him go right.
8th in the league in scoring, 5th in assists, 5th in steals, 4th in free throw shooting. The problem for Jalen Lowe has been the turnovers. He's 2nd in the league in turnovers at 3 per game.
That and defensively, he is being picked on. And it's not necessarily his defense on the ball, it's his defense off the ball. He can lose focus at times, and teams are going after him. Like, how do you stop a good offensive player? You make him play defense.
Corin from the elbow, off the mark. Cadeau with a rebound, and here come the Tar Heels. Ian Jackson, the 6'4" freshman from the Bronx, gives it back to the point guard Cadeau. Inside, Van Allen Lubin.
Good execution, middle third of the floor. That ball screen, poor talk. Either you're going to switch it or you're hard showing. Nobody comes from the weak side to help on the roll, which means it was probably confusion up top. Should have been switched.
8 unanswered for the Tar Heels. Dunn can't stop the run. UNC with it once again. Again, Lubin shaping up against Corin inside. They don't find him. Bring it back out to Davis. A graduate student, 5th year from White Plains, New York, going to work on the switch. Has Corin defending. Wow. Sweet pass inside to Lubin, who already has 7 points this afternoon.
And Davis, you know, made Corin work. He got the switch, made him work. was able to get it 2 feet in the paint and find an angle, and what a pass.
That's 10 unanswered for Carolina. Cross-court done, extra pass into the corner. Off the mark for Zach Austin. Pitt needs a stop. Lubin with a huge size advantage, and again his teammates find him. Van Allen Lubin, 9 of Carolina's 12 to start. Corin to the baseline. Over his left shoulder, and that snaps the 12-0 run.
And he's wide open again. I mean, what help by Austin. One of the best shot blockers as a guard in this league. What a basket-saving play.
Leggett finds Corin. Jalen Lowe. Big answer for Pittsburgh to make it a 4-point game. His second made 3 of the day.
Cam Corin playing in that pocket, and a nice job looking opposite. And that's 2 threes early in this game for Jalen Lowe.
Lowe recovers nicely for the steal. Now working on Cadeau. Lowe again. No. Corin. A huge stick back, and just like that, the Panthers are within 2. A 7-0 run for Pitt, answering the 12-0 run for Carolina. Trimble lost it to Austin. Third turnover committed by the Tar Heels. Lowe now into the lane, has it poked away, and here comes UNC. Jackson, Trimble. Tar Heels 14, Panthers 10.
You allow North Carolina to play in transition, be it bad shots or turnovers. They are the fastest team in the ACC.
Leggett, tough shot along the baseline. First 2 points for the senior from Prince George's County, Maryland.
Both those guards for Pitt are so dynamic, so shifty, and they are hyper aggressive. If a team's going to switch you 1 through 5, which North Carolina's last 2 opponents have done that, they came in prepared. We're going to take advantage of the matchup. Good roll to the front of the rim by Van Allen Lubin there. Then you take advantage of a smaller guard here. Good delivery, nice angle. And then Van Allen Lubin again. What a start for him. Going right after the smaller guard.
In this battle of bubble teams, Van Allen Lubin doing his best to burst the bubble of the Pitt Panthers.
Well, they came in prepared again for the switching. They had not seen a lot of that 1 through 5 switching prior to playing Pitt the first time and then playing Duke the other day. You know, Stanford was in coverage, in drop coverage. You know, some of these other teams, BC. And so it was a bit of an adjustment. Now, Duke's a different animal because of their length. They're going to make, you know, anything hard when they're switching. But what Carolina came in today, we are going to force feed Van Allen Lubin or whoever's on the interior against those smaller guards. If Jalen Lowe or Ish Leggett switch onto our bigs, we're going to punch that thing inside.
Hubert Davis going to his bench, bringing in 3 fresh players. Drake Powell, the freshman from nearby Pittsburgh, North Carolina, along with the 6th-year Jalen Withers. And Jalen Washington playing the 5. Guillermo Diaz-Graham out there for Pittsburgh. Carolina has been connected. Their first 6 made field goals, all assisted. That is their 7th made bucket and the first of the day for R.J. Davis.
Pitt was in coverage there, so they showed off of that high ball screen, and then R.J. Davis playing in isolation makes a tough shot.
Here goes Leggett, turned the corner. It was on the way down when Withers got a piece of it, so count the basket. 4 points for Leggett.
This is where R.J. Davis, again, whoever North Carolina is moving forward, it starts with that guy. It starts with him being that All-American he was expected to be coming in.
Davis takes the ball and the screen from Washington, now resets with 12 on the timeline. A step back over Graham Diaz. Don't let number 4 get heated up.
And he is shooting it great in their last 5. Shooting 41%, much better than he has on the year. He's making almost 3 threes a game.
And he is now within 5 of our friend Randolph Childress for 8th place on the career three-pointers made list in ACC history. Under 5 on the shot clock. Dunn trying to penetrate. He's in trouble, dumps it off. UNC's defense comes up with another stop. This time it was Withers inside to slam the door.
But it was a really nice recovery by Withers, because Dunn almost gets bailed out by a nice baseline cut by Austin. And then R.J. Davis, after the start from Ben Allen, Lubin, R.J. Davis getting in on the party here. 2 threes, working against the bigger Guillermo Diaz-Graham. There's just too much space for that guy. And then what a recovery by Withers. You think you got a layup? No thanks.
At this point, the ACC safely only has 3 teams in the field of 68, according to our Joe Lunardi. Wake Forest is the last team in, and then these other bubble teams, SMU, and then our 2 today, Carolina and Pittsburgh. A lot riding on the outcome of this game here today, Chris.
Yeah, there is. Again, you're playing other teams that are on the bubble. Those games become important because it's not just about what you do, it's what those other teams do. Still a lot of basketball to play. Both these teams have talent, and you still have that ACC tournament out there, which will have a major impact, I think, on selection.
Well, this is a quad 1 opportunity for Pittsburgh, a quad 2 game for North Carolina. Pitt's net coming into the day is 47. While Carolina is 45.
Tell you what, Carolina is chewing Pittsburgh up right now out of that high pick and roll. Pitt's defense over the last 2 games has been a struggle. Both their opponents have shot over 50% from the field.
And we have seen so far this afternoon, Chris, late in the shot clock has been a real problem defensively for Pitt as well.
It has. Jeff Capel calling it their defensive stamina. They're just losing focus at the end of these defensive possessions.
A takeaway by Drake Powell. Davis off the hesitation, gives it back to Powell, who mishandles, gets it back to Davis. Washington working on Corin, who blocks the shot. It's a held ball. The possession arrow will stay down at this end, as Seth Trimble will check back in, taking the spot of Ian Jackson for Carolina. Well, the Carolina offensive numbers, they have not met a lot of resistance so far today at this end of the court. Shooting a very high percentage against this Pittsburgh defense. Davis on the switch has Corin defensively. Under 5 to shoot. Powell on the pull-up. Pretty stroke, and that is why NBA folks are very high on number 9 from Carolina.
And he's had to play out of position for much of this year. He is not a 4, more of a 2-3, but he's had to play at the 4 for most of this season. That was a tough shot, mid-range pull-up.
And this is Carolina's largest lead of the game, 24-14, winding down in the midpoint of the first half. And the 2 players banged heads and are both holding their faces. Jalen Lowe rubbing his forehead. And R.J. Davis, as you see, is prone, holding his face as well.
This is what Carolina does, and man, that's got to hurt. That's what they do, though. They're going to try to keep the ball on a side. They're going to bully it and really get into the ball handler and keep that ball on a side.
We'll have to monitor this. Davis picks up the foul. He heads to the bench and is now being checked on. And I imagine we will have a concussion protocol. Lowe with the basketball stays in the game. Again, the shot clock an issue for Pitt, and Withers commits the foul with 2.1 on the timer.
You have got to make Jalen Lowe play with his right hand. He's a completely different player. He is so strong to his left, both driving and then finishing. You've got to get him going right, but when you switch a big on him, you're just not as comfortable shading it to that weaker hand. This foul line has been a real strength for Pittsburgh this year. They're the best free throw shooting team in the ACC. They were +10 at the line against North Carolina in the first matchup. Got to be able to play Pitt without fouling.
80% as a team, which is 8th best in the country, and Lowe certainly does his part at 88%. And you saw the list of players in the ACC who are intimately involved in every part of their team scoring, and Lowe is as good as anybody in that department. Again, top 10 in the ACC in scoring, assists, steals, free throw shooting, getting it done at the line. By the way, it was good to see R.J. Davis smiling on the Carolina bench. Hopefully he is okay, and we'll be back in. Lowe gets 1 out of 2 as Davis watches from the bench. Carolina shooting 83% so far today, Chris, 10 out of 12. Cadeau, the maestro, back out to Withers. Trimble gives it back to Cadeau. See what action they can get into with 5 on the shot clock. Powell has to put it out. Withers kept it alive, but it comes to Pittsburgh and Damian Dunn. He's fouled before the shot. Start your Super Bowl Sunday with 3 great women's basketball matchups. Stanford and Louisville are at noon Eastern on ESPN2, followed by number 2 South Carolina and number 4 Texas over on ESPN. And then at 4 Eastern, 6th ranked LSU will host 19th ranked Tennessee. That is tomorrow, Super Bowl Sunday.
Vic Schaefer getting it done again at Texas. That place, the Moody Center, will be rocking for that game against South Carolina.
Jorge Diaz-Gran off the bench misses, and it leads to a run out. Long missed shots lead to runouts, and Carolina's as good as anybody. Drake Powell now with 4 points. Number 2 against Elliot Cadeau, much to the chagrin of the Capel brothers. Jeff Capel, the head coach, his younger brother Jason, a former Tar Heel himself, letting the officials have it over that call.
Yeah, that's a bad call. They bailed Pitt out of that possession. North Carolina has been defensively really good on the ball this year. It's been off of the ball where they have not been as precise with their defense.
Good to see R.J. Davis back out there for Carolina. Once again, shot clock down for Pitt. Low to that left hand.
You've got to make him play with his right hand. I mean, he just is so good driving and, more importantly, finishing going left.
9 for the sophomore guard. And Alan Lubin back in. Davis rejects the screen. Can't get the roll. Fight for the loose ball. Davis is after it. Dunn's on the floor. Leggett has a hand on it. And finally the whistle comes. It's a held ball. Kay Tyson off the bench for Carolina, also mixing it up.
To the left, to the left.
There you go.
All Jalen Lowe is, he wants to go to the left.
Sing it. Come on. ESPN, another Sonic blockbuster with Dickie V making his return to see Cooper Flagg and number 2 Duke take on Clemson. Little John will be rocking. You can see the fans are there to welcome. And there he is. Dick Vitale making his way into Little John Coliseum. And, of course, his wife Lorraine out in front with her husband. And it's been way too long since Dick has been on a call. We're so excited to have him back. We love Dick Vitale. He'll be on the call with our guy Corey Alexander and Dave O'Brien. And you're not going to want to miss it. 6:30 ESPN. Dickie V is back.
Dick Vitale is the soundtrack of college basketball. He was during my youth. He still is to this day. It is good to see him back. What a fight he's had to put up in order to be back in that seat at 6:30. And you said it, Doug. We will be tuned in.
Yes, it will be emotional, no doubt about it. Cam Corrin with the dunk coming out of the break pulls Pittsburgh back to within 7 of North Carolina. Trimble into the lane, leans off the front rim. They're the hops that he has. Hubert Davis says he actually jumps better than his older brother, J.P. Tokoto. And that second jump there, we got a taste of it.
And he went right after Lowe.
Leggett working on Trimble at the other end. And Trimble draws the offensive foul against Ish Leggett.
You know, the other problem for Jalen Lowe has been teams are picking on him. They are going after him. Eyes lighting up by opposing guards when they have that matchup. And not only does Seth Trimble get himself to the basket, but that second jump, like you said, Doug, off a pogo stick.
Second foul on Leggett. Back in your days at West Point when you were leading the Patriot League in scoring, the other team never targeted you, did they?
They absolutely did. and by the way, I was what they call a below-the-rim player.
Once again, a point-blank look against a smaller defender by Van Allen Lubin. Didn't get it the first time. Stuck with it, but now he's got 11 points.
And the deliveries have been on the money. You know, playing in the post is about where you catch it and the angle you have. Van Allen Lubin working for his angle, and the passes have been on the money. And
Lubin being used much differently than he did last year at Vanderbilt when he put up 39 three-point shots. He has yet to try a three this year for Hubert Davis. Trimble off the spin, extra pass to Davis. Look at that ball movement to find the wide open three. And a rebound snared by Cade Tyson, but we've got a whistle.
I mean, you can tell the game plan coming in. They were going inside. I mean, they were going to work that pick and roll in the middle third. Van Allen Lubin was going to roll hard. Gets himself a first shot, and he works for multiples. Stays right with it. Nicely done.
Pitt freshman guard Brandon Cummins had just come into the ball game. He picks up his first foul. Ian Jackson back on the floor for Carolina with it. Draws two defenders. Under 6 minutes to go in the first half. Carolina by 11. Davis trying to lose Austin, and the ACC's top shot blocker stayed right with him.
As the primary defender, what a defensive play. I mean, that is not easy. Starts with being a heck of an athlete.
You and I were doing a Pittsburgh game 2 or 3 years ago when I said I thought Mo Gee, with his 3-and-D capability, might have a chance to get to the league, and he did. I kind of feel the same way about Zach Austin. He can shoot it really well. He's a terrific athlete, and you saw what he did as an on-ball defender right there against a really good player. Time will tell for sure. Well, from the corner by Jackson.
In the first matchup between these two teams, Zach Austin had 5 blocks in a game. All of them spectacular.
He's got the size to back it up. 6'7", 210, a senior from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, who played his first 3 years at High Point University. He's a real nice piece for Jeff Capel. Second foul on Van Allen Lubin. As you see the numbers on Austin.
You know, it was interesting talking to Jeff Capel before the game. You know, prior to Damian Dunn injuring his thumb, they were really rolling. I mean, on both ends. They were a much better defensive team. Offensively, Damian Dunn was their second leading scorer and really a big part of that offense. Losing him really put them onto this, you know, this kind of streak they have been on, where they have not played as well as they were early in the season.
Now, you certainly don't want to put it all on Damian Dunn, but in his 8 games back coming into this game, Pitt's only won twice. His shooting numbers are down, and you see the wrap on his hand. And Coach Capel, very candid in what he shared with us. He doesn't think Dunn is going to be back 100% healthy, physically or probably mentally this year, while that hand continues to improve. But it seems to have thrown certain things off for this Pitt team. He was such a good defensive piece and such a viable option on the offensive end. They're still trying to figure those things out. Brandon Cummings, the freshman from Midland, Pennsylvania, gets rid of the basketball to Guillermo Diaz-Graham, the taller of the Diaz-Graham twins, the older by a few minutes as well. Here is Dunn. Skip to the corner. Cummings. We've got a whistle, and the foul's going to go against Powell, who says Cummings used a chicken wing to get around me.
Yeah, it's not a foul you should commit. First of all, Brandon Cummings doesn't play a lot. Only a freshman, has not played a lot. You know, make him shoot that shot. You can afford to close out short, but if he starts driving, just be long and big. You know, teams in the bonus, you've got to be much more foul conscious, especially one that shoots it as well from the line as Pitt.
Another 1-and-1. Cummings makes the front end. He is an example, Chris, of how mercurial freshmen can be. As you said, minutes have been hard to come by, but earlier this season, Brandon Cummings scored 30 against Eastern Kentucky. In that game back in December, he was 6 of 8 from three-point land. He can shoot it, makes 1 out of 2 from the line to draw Pitt back within 8. Trimble tries to turn the corner, loses his footing, and turns it over. Numbers for Pitt. Austin unable to get rid of the basketball before Trimble recovered. Dunn into the lane, and a foul against Carolina. And you can see him favoring that right hand again. Dunn is in discomfort right now. Well, maybe the right hand is the least of his issues.
Yeah, right, I think he's in discomfort for an entirely different reason.
Who says basketball is not a contact sport?
You know, Damian Dunn, I saw a lot of him last year. He played at Houston last year. He played for Kelvin Sampson. And he had a good year. It wasn't, I think, offensively what Kelvin Sampson was expecting off of what Damian Dunn had done at Temple. But Jeff Capel has a very close relationship with the Sampsons. You know, Jeff ended up taking over at Oklahoma after Kelvin Sampson left there. Jeff Capel coached Kellen Sampson, the son of Kelvin, and they, you know, the Capels and the Sampsons are very close, and so I think that connection, getting Damian Dunn a new look, a new environment, you know, again, was great from the start of the year for Jeff Capel in this program.
But then Dunn underwent right thumb surgery in late November. Missed about 6 weeks and still trying to work his way back fully for Pitt. There's the defense from Dunn that Pittsburgh got accustomed to back in November and December. But then the foul is called and takes us to our under 4 media timeout. So we'll step away from the Dean Dome in this battle of bubble teams. Carolina with the lead.
Whoever North Carolina is moving forward, it starts with R.J. Davis. He's got 2 threes in his first half, both of them off the dribble, both of them kind of dancing in front of his defender. You know, the start to this game had a vintage North Carolina start. They were playing inside out, went strong into Allen Lubin. And then R.J. Davis, his 8 points coming down the stretch of this first half.
And you mentioned Lubin, he had 11 early, just 2 off his season high, which came against Stanford. And Lubin can score. He put up 25 a couple of times last year while at Vanderbilt, playing for Carolina great Jerry Stackhouse, but on the bench as we get set with 3:57 remaining in the first half. Carolina's cooled off. Perhaps the Pittsburgh defense has been better after making 10 of their first 12, Chris. The Tar Heels have missed 8 of their last 11 at this end of the floor. Here is Davis to Jack. Tough shot. Pittsburgh's defense comes up with another stop, and here comes Ish Leggett, last year's ACC 6th man of the year, missed the reverse. Jalen Washington down on the block. Trimble trying to find him. Instead, he brings it back out to R.J. Davis.
Pitt not switching that 1-5 ball screen anymore. They're just kind of showing. So the guard able to stay with R.J. Davis. That's 2 tough shots at the end of the shot clock there for North Carolina.
Wide open, Guillermo Diaz-Graham.
And that's what those 2 Diaz-Graham twins give you. You know, they give you a pick and pop, the ability to shoot it. A little pick and pop, Carolina in drop, a little late. Guillermo Diaz-Graham, he's wet.
Jeff Capel has shortened his bench in recent weeks. Guillermo Diaz-Graham with his first 3 points of the afternoon, part of an 8-0 run to get the Panthers back to within 3. And there you see the twins. Guillermo is 7 feet tall. Jorge is 6'11". Guillermo's the older and the taller twin, and he sees himself as the big brother, both literally and figuratively in that relationship. I'm always fascinated by twins, whether they play basketball, just the connections that they have that people like you and I just can't understand.
Oh, and they clearly get the same haircut. The same guy's cutting both hair.
Drake Powell off the back iron. Cummings getting more minutes off the bench for Pittsburgh. Elliot Cadeau back on the floor for Carolina, guarding Cummings in the corner, playing with those 2 fouls. Just over 2 minutes remaining here in the half. Trying to get a step on Davis. Turns around in the lane. Good looking under control move.
Really nice. I mean, he got to his spot, used that pivot foot, and then he's got a little size on R.J. Davis. So once he got to that spot, knew he'd be able to rise up over the top.
First made bucket of the day in this homecoming game for the young man from Kinston, North Carolina. Trimble again, like a pogo stick, getting that putback.
He's so athletic. A big part on those drives is just getting the ball up to the basket. And then that second jump does the work on the follow-up.
You know, Chris, he finished 3rd in last year's ACC 6th Man of the Year voting as Cummings makes the 3. He had a really good sophomore year, trying to build on that here as a junior at Carolina. Washington draws a crowd and a foul. Will they get done? The primary defender. No, they get Austin, the help side defender, for his first personal foul.
Those 2 bigs for North Carolina off of that high screen, they are rolling right to the front of the rim. And if you're going to show up top, that help side, as you mentioned, Doug, you have got to come over earlier and higher. You have got to meet that roll guy. You meet him too low, you know, he's getting right to the front of the rim. These bigs, you know, mostly Lubin, but Washington there. These bigs have done a nice job out of that middle pick and roll.
That was the 7th team foul on Pittsburgh, so a 1-and-1 with Washington making the front end. How much does Carolina miss Harrison Ingram this year? There was the chance he could come back and fill that 4 spot like he did last year, but decided to turn pro. He's in the G League right now. How much would that have changed this year's fortunes for Carolina?
Him and Cormac Ryan, I would lump the 2 of them. I mean, Ingram 8 rebounds a game, you know, versatility. But the thing with those 2 guys also, Doug, is they were grown-ups. I mean, you had 2 grown-ups in your locker room along with Baycott.
Dunn lost it. Still loose. Trimble's got it for Carolina. Davis is fouled at about the free throw line by Cummings.
That's where a lot with R.J. Davis, you know, last year, he was playing one-on-one a lot, whereas this year he's playing, you know, against multiple defenders because of Carolina's inability to shoot it from the perimeter. But R.J. Davis didn't have to be that galvanizing leader. He could just go out and hoop. I mean, you had 3 grown-ups in Ryan, Ingram, and Baycott who did a lot of dirty work defensively, who did a lot of work. So there's just been a lot more outside of what teams are defensively able to do to scheme against Davis because of the people around Davis. There's also a leadership component that I think this team is lacking at times, missing those 3 veterans.
As you saw some of the numbers he has put up, and now his 5th year as a Tar Heel. He's #2 all-time in program history points behind Tyler Hansbrough, whose hit ACC record almost assuredly is out of reach. RJ now with 10 points for the Tar Heels. Lowe finds Corin. Couldn't finish. And it's off of, they say, Carolina. I thought Corin was the last to touch it.
Well, Corin plays hard, man. He plays with a motor. I love his energy. It's not always going to be pretty. Looked like they missed that one.
The displeased folks here in Chapel Hill letting the officials know as they've watched it on the Jumbotron the same way we've seen the replay. Lowe trying to get back to that left hand, under 10 of the shot clock. Trimble staying right with him. Guillermo Diaz-Graham gets it back to Lowe. It's a shot clock violation because he missed the iron.
Great possession. Great defensive possession by North Carolina. Starts with Trimble on the ball. Making life hard for Jalen Lowe, and then R.J. Davis does a nice job helping off of that pick and pop.
Hubert Davis calls timeout. We will be back in 30 seconds.
Here's that defensive possession, that last one there that forced the shot clock violation. It starts with the pressure on the basketball. Seth Trimble trying to keep Jalen Lowe to that right hand. Lowe gets back. And then you get really good help off of this high screen. Look at R.J. Davis come over here off of this pick and pop. There's Diaz. There's R.J. Davis showing. Allows Washington to get back, and then you force a tough contested shot. And then a shot clock violation.
So now where does Carolina go here with 7.6 on the timer?
I think you get Cadeau on the run. You get something up on the backboard. And then you crash.
Here's Cadeau on the run. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Back to Trimble. Good closeout by Austin. Makes it a tough shot and well defended by Pittsburgh to close out the half. Van Allen Lubin with 11 early points. At one point, the lead was 11 for Carolina. Pittsburgh's only led once early at 3-0. With Chris Patola, I'm Doug Sherman. This matchup of bubble teams, both on the outside looking in coming into the day, was started by the high-flying Tar Heels, who pounded the ball inside, used a 12-0 run, and seized control early.
Yeah, they came in ready for that, that switching, that 1 through 5 switching of Pitts, especially on that high pick and roll. Van Allen Lubin was diving right to the front of the rim. And early in this game, he was getting a smaller defender on him. There's the guard, Ish Leggett. Great post pass. He goes right up, able to finish. Here's another one. He gets the smaller Jalen Lowe, who's confused. Miscommunicated, caught in coverage. They went in early to Lubin. And then Jalen Lowe, this was his first bucket of the game. He sees that go in, and then was able to get to that left hand. He's a much different player if he's able to get downhill to his left. Doug, it's interesting. North Carolina was up 11 in this game, and Elliot Cadeau picked up his second foul. They're a much different team when he is not on the floor. And that, I thought, was kind of where this game changed a little bit.
Well, Carolina assisted 6 of its first 7 made field goals. After that, they had just 1 assist. Less connected, less ball movement without their point guard, Elliot Cadeau, on the floor. So he did come on the floor and play late in the first half for just a little bit with those 2 personal fouls. He'll start along with Jackson, Lubin, R.J. Davis, and Seth Trimble. Same starting 5 for Carolina. Same starting 5 here in the second half for Pittsburgh. Lowe and Leggett in the backcourt along with Dunn. Corin inside. And you know what? Zach Austin doesn't have any points, but he impacted the first half. 3 steals, 2 block shots. Here's Cadeau to the corner, pass a bit high, and a turnover to start the second half, the 5th of the game for the Heels.
And they stay true to the ball off of that high ball screen. You force a tough skip pass, and again, taking care of the ball was priority one offensively for North Carolina. Did a pretty good job in the first half of that. You start the half with a turnover.
Well, we get inundated with statistics, as we all do in our world of being sports fans in 2025, and a lot of the numbers I just kind of bypassed. But one I'm curious about, Pittsburgh has won its last 3 games coming to the Dean Dome, which to me is very, very surprising. It matches the second longest streak for an opponent coming into this building ever. Wake did it back in 02, 03, 04. Duke won 4 in a row here against Carolina back in the late 90s and early 2000s. But is there anything to be made of that recent Pitt success over the last 4 years coming to Chapel Hill?
It's a good question. I don't know, Doug. You know, I think, you know, perhaps winning one, then you feel comfortable the next time. I mean, it's a good question.
And I don't know if there's any carryover at all. Dunn makes a pair after Lubin picked up his 3rd personal. Pitt beat Carolina less than 2 weeks ago in Pittsburgh. Carolina trying to return the favor between these two teams that are in the next 4 out on the bubble, according to Joe Lunardi. And again, he said this is not a play-in game between these two teams. It's a play-out. And of course, we've got another month to go in the regular season and the ACC tournament. So you're not out if you lose this game, obviously, but it's an important game for both sides. Davis pass, dumps it on. That matches a season high, a Carolina high for Van Allen Lubin.
And he is, they have delivered the ball to him on the money today, where he's just had to catch and go to finish.
Again, he was a top 100 recruit coming out of Orlando. A big get for Mike Bray at Carolina. He played last year at Vanderbilt.
Cam Corrins played well for Pitt. Gave them very good minutes in the first half.
That's 10 points now for the junior from Allen, Texas. Pittsburgh has led just once today. They led 3-0. And that's when Carolina rattled off 12 straight points, and they have not trailed since. Ian Jackson along the baseline, left his feet. Carolina will keep with 2.9 on the shot clock.
He's operating off the side again. I mean, that's poor defense by Jalen Lowe. Just, you know, opens the gate. And then a very nice delivery by Davis. And then there's Corrin. You know, he's been very good out of that short roll. Off of the high screen. He gets into that pocket, catches. And he plays with such a motor.
Jackson gives it back. Cadeau couldn't make the shot after beating the shot clock buzzer. So Pittsburgh with a chance to take its first lead since 3-zip. Austin. Got it. His first points come on a triple and put the Panthers back in front.
I don't think you could come that far off. To me, that's over-helping, especially with the shooter Zach Austin is.
He's 39% on the year coming in. Davis off the bounce answers. He's got a dozen, and we're tied at 39. Dunn back to Corrin, who set the screen. Nice shot from about 14 feet away. Corrin's now got a dozen.
Again, there, Damian Dunn does a nice job dragging Lubin with him off of that screen, and Corrin in that short roll.
Cadeau to Lubin, back out to Davis. Trimble in the corner. Again, trying to drive that baseline against Austin. Lubin feeling it. 15 points for Van Allen Lubin.
All the guards in this game, who knew it was going to be a battle between Van Allen Lubin and Cam Corrin going at it.
Lubin with 15, Corrin with 12. On rebound comes to Trimble off the Leggett miss. Cadeau glances over at his fourth-year head coach Hubert Davis, who calls out a play. Let's see what the Tar Heels have in store here. Cadeau splits the double team. Trimble wide open in the corner for 3.
That's the impact of Elliot Cadeau. Again, he only played 9 minutes in the first half. The game changed when he went out. What a nice job splitting that, using that pivot foot to find Trimble.
4 assists now for Cadeau. Trails only Nate George of Georgia Tech and Chucky Hepburn from Louisville in assists per game this year in the ACC. Here comes Davis, low on the reach-in foul.
There's Van Allen Lubin. He and Cam Corrin going back and forth. Pivot there, a little fall away on that. Good touch. And the split here, doesn't have a live dribble. Picks it up, but steps through. Good find. And Seth Trimble with his second 3 of the game.
Lubin takes a seat with his 15 points. Cadeau plays on. He has yet to score, but again, when he's in the ball game, the offense just works better for the Tar Heels. Lowe, by the way, picked up his second foul. Now 4 minutes gone here in the second half. 6'1" sophomore from West Orange, New Jersey, off the fade screen finds Davis, who buries the 3.
Set play. They just ran him over the top. And he just makes a heck of an individual play. What a shot.
Hit down 6. Guillermo Diaz-Graham answers with a triple of his own.
Big answer.
That quiets the crowd here at the Smith Center for the moment. Davis working on Leggett.
R.J. Davis been working. Been working off the bounce. There's that catch. Little step through, little sizzle. He's wet. And then this play starts to get loud, and Guillermo Diaz-Graham says, nah, not on my watch. He's so wet.
We are just over an hour away from Dick Vitale's return to the airwaves. This was moments ago with Brad Brownell at Little John Coliseum as they get ready for Duke and Clemson. The game in and of itself, Chris, is going to be a huge matchup, perhaps Duke's biggest conference test of the season. But the fact that Dickie B is there makes it all that much better.
How about that? What a scene. You knew how happy he was going to be, back in the gym, back calling a game, and he's got a good one. That place is going to be lit.
Well, you and I have both worked with Dickie B, limited over the years, but the energy that is around him, that emanates from him, is remarkable. It's palpable when you walk into a room like that with him.
Yeah, he's a fixture, and he's always got a crowd huddled around him.
And always ready to oblige, by the way. Just over 5 minutes gone here in the second half of the Dean Dome. Damian Dunn with the basketball for Pittsburgh, and he's going to be called for a traveling violation. Carolina gets it back up 3 after the 7th turnover by the Panthers.
Out of the timeout, Jeff Capel trying to isolate Damian Dunn, the fifth-year guy, against the freshman Powell, and Powell does a nice job just staying in front, staying with length, and forcing the turnover.
Here's Cadeau into the lane, brings it back out. Washington pulls, and Lowe crashes for the defensive rebound. Lowe averages over 4 rebounds per game. Again, he's a stat sheet stuffer who might work his way onto an all-star team or two. Hey, look who's in the house. Antoine Jamison learning some of the finer points of basketball from the great, the inimitable Freddie Kiger. A couple of proud Carolina grads right there. As Elliot Cadeau has picked up his 3rd personal foul. I wonder what Freddie and Antoine were talking about, looking deep into those game notes. It's always cool when you come back here to see all the banners. Of course, Jamison is up there. Powell blocks the shot from Lowe, who gets it back, puts it up. No. Diaz-Graham is poked away cleanly by Elliot Cadeau, playing with those 3 personal fouls. And then Lowe is whistled for the foul at the other end.
What a job on the other end by Drake Powell. 2 possessions in a row defensively, caught one-on-one. And then Jalen Lowe has to leave the game now. Just with his 3rd, Again, a bad defensive play by Lowe. I mean, when ball handlers see him on them, their eyes are lighting up, and they are going right after Jalen Lowe.
Trimble hanging in the air, no. Cummings back into the game, getting more run here this afternoon for Pittsburgh. Dunn leans in for the contact, lost the basketball on the way up. It goes out of bounds back near midcourt. The officials look at each other, and it's Carolina basketball.
Yeah, that's where Jalen Lowe on the bench, you lose not just his scoring, but you lose his ball handling. Jalen Lowe has the ball a lot. He initiates their offense. He gets them into their stuff. When you don't have that guy, Pitt is a different team, obviously.
How long do you imagine he will be on the bench?
It depends on what this differential does. I think with a guard, you can be more willing to play a player like that with foul trouble.
Good job defensively by Guillermo Diaz-Graham to go straight up. There he is on the offensive glass, but he couldn't corral it off his leg and out of bounds back to the Tar Heels.
You know, Pitt is the worst rebounding team in the ACC. They only grab about 8 offensive rebounds a game. 2 possessions straight where Guillermo Diaz-Graham carves some space. He has the ball in his hands, and he just can't possess it.
Lowe watches with those 3 fouls. Jalen Washington back in for Carolina. This is Cadeau guarded by Cummings at midcourt. There's Davis, who earlier this game passed the 2,500 point threshold in his marvelous 5-year Carolina career. The 2nd leading scorer in program history. Drake Powell ducks under, couldn't get the rim. Shot clock down to 1 as the ball went out of bounds. Doesn't matter because it's Pittsburgh basketball.
It's not a great shot by Drake Powell. You know, you got to get to the middle of that paint, either rise up and take your shot or spray it out to the perimeter. It's a soft shot. In a game like this, a 1-possession game, these possessions start to magnify. There's a soft take in there.
Pitt has a chance to retie it. Dangerous pass. Nice job by Corin to gather it, working on Lubin. And Lubin's going to be called for the foul, to the chagrin of the folks wearing Carolina blue. And that is number 4.
It's big. I thought it was a foul live. I think it was the delay on the call. I don't know what took the officials so long.
Not your classic post-entry pass, but it worked out.
Yeah, I mean, when those arms are impeding the offensive player's ability to get into his shot, it's going to be called. It just was a delay on blowing the whistle.
Lubin still on the floor, but Washington is at the scorer's table. And will come in after Corin misses the first. In the great words of Rasheed Wallace, Carolina legend, ball don't lie. This for Cookies if he misses, but Corin got it. And now we'll get our first look at James Brown, a 6'10" freshman from Aurora, Illinois, with a foul trouble to Lubin. Coach Davis going a little deeper into that bench. Yeah, so Washington had been at the scorer's table. Let's hope everybody's okay. Elliot Cadeau left his feet thinking about dunking it. He's back on his feet, but a Pitt defender is still slow to get up.
Yeah, that's Brandon Cummings. And he was grabbing that right ankle. What a take by Cadeau. I mean, the acceleration out of the blocks. And then he goes to punch it.
Over a 7-foot defender. Holding that right foot or ankle. Foul goes against Guillermo Diaz-Graham, who denied the dunk attempt but picks up his 2nd personal.
You know, that's one of those takes, Doug, where I don't think he had any shot of finishing that as a dunk. But when you're the aggressor, when you go hard, you're going to get a call. I mean, that's the difference. That's what I'm saying about Drake Powell's play a couple possessions prior. Like, you get in there and you go aggressive, good things will happen.
First point of the ball game for Elliot Cadeau, and it makes it a three-point game again. Cummings able to walk back to the bench under his own power, retying that right shoe. Leggett's had a quiet day offensively.
Nice.
Beautiful drive and dish.
Oh, and a nice job drawing that help defender. James Brown helped up right at the last second. Good drop off by Leggett.
Trimble was slow to get back up. You know, he's on pace to be the first Carolina basketball player under 6 feet 4 inches to lead his team in rebounds for a season. He's been replaced in the lineup for Carolina by Ian Jackson, the freshman out of our Savior Lutheran High School in the Bronx.
First show of zone from either team today.
Inside to the freshman, draws a double team, unable to finish is James Brown.
Got to come away with points there.
Leggett, quick first step. And the whistle against James Brown, who picks up his first foul of the ball game.
But the day for Cam Corrin, 15 points on the day. Starts with this drive, 2 feet in the paint. Help comes up, drop off. He punches it home.
This is an ESPN Sonic blockbuster. Whoa!
This is star power from the jump.
Number 2 Duke, Clemson, tonight on ESPN.
A chance to see Cooper Flagg and a chance to hear Dickie V coming up over on ESPN. Clemson, last 4 meetings against ranked opponents. You see what they have done. And during that last time out, this place turned into what sounded like the Phoenix Open with the noise that was made for this golf shot. It's a heck of a putt. Would we show it to you if he didn't make it? I want to find out what he won.
It might have been a dozen eggs. With the price of eggs these days.
He'd need security to get out of here. That foul, by the way, was against Jalen Withers, not James Brown, that has Leggett at the free throw line. And now a second consecutive missed free throw would provide cookies. And again, the great disappointment here in Chapel Hill. 5th time we've been tied here today. 48 all, Pittsburgh and North Carolina in what Joe Lunardi calls a play-out game for these two bubble teams. Drake Powell.
It's not a good shot.
On the step back over the 7-footer.
2-point shot in the mid-range, off the dribble, over length. It's the perfect storm of a bad shot.
Corrin tries to give it back to Leggett. Cadeau got a hand on it for the lead. Leggett was short on the triple. Carolina's gone scoreless for more than 5 minutes to allow Pittsburgh back into a 48 all tie. Each of these teams in the first half had double-digit runs. Carolina rattled off 12 in a row. Pittsburgh answered with 10 straight. Davis off the great head fake missed the runner.
Lucky there. I don't know what Damian Dunn was biting on.
Austin got it. Pittsburgh 51, North Carolina 48.
That's what he does. He is a catch and shoot guy. And he's only got 10 assists all season, so you know he's not passing. He wants to catch and shoot from 3.
Washington hands it back to the point guard, Cadeau, into the corner. Now that's a better shot for the freshman. Drake Powell.
Had his feet set, catch and shoot.
7 points. Oh, the rookie out of Northwood High School in nearby Pittsburgh, North Carolina. Jalen Washington draped all over Corin, who will head to the line. Foul number 2 on Washington.
This is what Zach Austin does. 3/4 of his shots are from 3 this season, and he could shoot with range. And then Drake Powell has given them good minutes today. He's played, some nice defensive possessions, and outside of a couple bad shots, he steps into that one there.
Non-shooting foul, so Pittsburgh keeps it, trying to find Corin, battling Washington inside. Dunn down the lane, hangs in the air, no. Another denial, this time by Washington, and here comes R.J. Davis. Had legged on skates, and he picks up a foul. Dunn is still on the floor at the other end of the floor. Now he's holding that left elbow. Foul called on Leggett, his 3rd, and Dunn is still on the floor.
I don't know if he came down on it or not. He's grabbing his leg there underneath. Once again, though, Drake Powell was matched up against Dunn and just forced a tough shot.
Again, Dunn underwent right thumb surgery late November. Sat out 7 games. This is his 9th game back. But he, with the assistance of Jason Capel, is back to his feet, but not feeling very well. He's got aches and pains all over.
I give Damian Dunn a lot of credit with the thumb not being completely healed. And Jeff Capel telling us before the game, like, he has a hard time dribbling. It's affected the way he shoots because it is his shooting hand. There's a lot of players now,
no doubt,
with where we are culturally, who do not play until they are 100% healthy. And there's a dude who has showed a lot of toughness coming back when he probably wasn't completely ready, and stepping into this lineup for Jeff Capel.
In his 6th year in college, he sees the end and wants to play every minute he can. He spent 4 years at Temple, including a medical redshirt year. He's a 1,000-point scorer. And as we've talked about, spent last season coming off the bench for Houston before transferring to Pittsburgh. Jalen Lowe having a conversation with John Gaffney, one of our 3 officials here today. And now R.J. Davis, he of 2,502 career points. Carolina's all-time leader in made threes. Closing in on Randolph Childress, the Wake Forest great, for 8th on the all-time ACC list for made threes. And again, you've always got to put the caveat that it is a 5-year plan, just like all the Armando Bacot numbers and for all the other players who have benefited from the COVID year. But that doesn't diminish the remarkable career Davis has had.
Oh, it just puts it in context. You still got to go out and make those shots and get those points.
He's got 16 today, and he's got Carolina back in front by 1. Jalen Lowe back on the floor for Pitt, playing with those 3 fouls. Guillermo Diaz-Graham off to Cam Corin. Lowe lost his footing, keeps his balance. Under 10 to shoot. Lowe down the lane, over Davis for 2.
To his left. He wants his left hand, and he's an excellent finisher going left.
Chris, that's our 6th lead change of the game. As you see, Lowe's in double figures now. Corin leads Pitt with 14 points. Great look to the diving Washington, the feed from Powell, and the foul against Pittsburgh.
There's got to be a delay. I might be hearing a delay on these whistles, because that was another clear foul. Whistle comes late. Really good action there by North Carolina. Here's his low play. He gathers himself, good composure, and then he gets to that left hand. And it seems like R.J. Davis forcing him that way, but I'm telling you, he is a completely different player when you make him play right-handed.
Third foul on Guillermo Diaz-Graham, so he and Lowe have 3. And on the other side, Ben Allen Lubin's got 4 fouls. Elliot Cadeau has 3.
Well, that graphic of how good Lowe and Leggett were together in the first matchup. Ish Leggett, Carolina's done a nice job with him today. Made life hard. You wonder if he's got a bucket here down the stretch, if he can get a little bit of a run going for Pitt.
We've talked a lot about how important a win would be for both of these teams today. Carolina has played the 11th toughest schedule in the country this year. And in one-possession games, they are 4 and 5. And this one looks like it's going to be a one-possession game right down to the wire. Leggett on the mid-range puts Pittsburgh back in front.
They're at their best offensively when those 2 guards get going, when they are playing well together.
Davis draws the second defender. That leaves a man open in the corner, but Trimble cannot make the shot. What you've been talking about all game, Davis always is playing against 2 or 3 defenders this year.
And kicking to a low percentage shooter from 3. And that was an early one. I think you can work in a better one than that last possession.
Lowe turns the corner with Powell in pursuit. Powell got a piece of that pass. Austin saves it. 5 on the shot clock. Lowe looks up. Gonna have to put it up. The Carolina defense forces a shot clock violation. Can Carolina finish a close game here today against Pittsburgh? We will find out. This, what, vintage 80s, maybe into the 90s video game to illustrate the Jayhawk punching the Tar Heel, taking out the Flyer, and on and on. Carolina has been in a lot of one-possession games so far this season, Chris.
Yeah, I think we're going for Mortal Kombat there.
I like it.
Loved video games from back in that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been...
You like the tree.
The tree was... I can't even go. I'm not going any further. What a job by production.
Awesome. Well, Coach Davis and his star player R.J. Davis trying to figure out how to win a one-possession game potentially here. 7:16 remaining second half with Chris Patola. I'm Doug Sherman. Here's a formula for not winning a close game. Carolina has missed 9 of its last 10 shots, and it's kind of a carbon copy offensively to what happened at the Peterson Event Center a couple of weeks ago when Pitt came back to beat the Tar Heels.
Shot selection, and that was a gutsy one there. 2 threes from Drake Powell, both of them massive.
7th lead change. Powell now with 10. Tar Heels back up 2.
That was one of those, is that the shot we want? Yes, it is.
Well, he shoots a good percentage, and if he's open, I think I'd want him to take it.
You thought he was open?
Open enough.
Well,
for me.
There you go. I want to play for you.
Low to the corner. Leggett spins into a double team. Austin beats the buzzer. Nothing but net. A huge 3.
He hit some big threes in that first matchup, too, down the stretch of that game.
No surprise that all of Austin's offense has come from behind the line. Cadeau dribbled it off his foot. He and Leggett get tied up, and it'll go the other way.
Shooting 31% from 3 in conference. But he's hit 2 big ones in this second half. Close out there, hand in the face. Nothing but net. And then here's the answer from Zach Austin. Catch and shoot sniper. Also well contested.
Lowe and Corin give it back and forth. Now Leggett from the right wing. Trimble with another rebound. Carolina down 2 with the basketball. Cadeau works his way into the lane, fakes the pass. Now back outside to Trimble. Then Allen Lubin back into the game for Carolina. Set the screen. Now posting up down low. Cadeau loses the defender and banks it home.
What a discard of Diaz Graham to get it back to that left hand. Said bye-bye.
First made field goal by Cadeau gives us our 8th tie of the game. Lowe dumps it off. Austin mishandled right to Leggett. And the foul committed by Trimble. That's his 2nd.
Yeah, and you switch on to these guards. Look at this discard. See ya. What a finish. Now again, he only played 9 minutes in that first half. They were up 11 when he left the game. That's where I thought the game changed in that first half. Him having to go to the bench with foul trouble. And each time Carolina has scored, Pitt has had an answer here on the other end.
Leggett puts Pittsburgh back in front. And make no mistake, Cadeau is a pass-first point guard. 3rd in the league in assists at this point of the season. And he's the first Tar Heel since the great Kendall Marshall with 4 career double-digit assist games. But they need some points and some scoring out as well, at least to be a threat. Timeout called with just over 5 minutes on the clock. Not surprisingly, a tight ball game between Pitt and Carolina. Doug Sherman, Chris Spatola here at the Dean Dome, and only those great Duke teams from the late 90s and early 2000s have ever come here to Chapel Hill and beaten the Tar Heels 4 straight times inside the Dean Dome. Pitt can match them with another win here today. 60-58 our score. Coach Capel's club looking for what would be a quad 1 victory, so coveted at this time of the year for a bubble team.
That 3-point line has come up big for both teams in this second half. Both teams 4 of 7 from 3.
Davis, Cadeau, and Trimble around the perimeter. Powell and Lubin inside for the Tar Heels. Davis, brother Cadeau going to work on Lowe. Elliott, Cadeau now with 5 points, 60 apiece.
Open side pick and roll. When he got into the lane, it was another discard. I mean, he just shoved Jalen Lowe out of the way.
The lob to the rim, and Corin throws it down. Pittsburgh 62, Carolina 60.
Both teams executing out of their respective timeouts. Both teams coming away with points.
Corin with 17 points to lead Pitt. Lubin tried to throw it down off the beautiful action. Great feed from Cadeau.
It's almost like he lost it trying to go one-handed. It's a big miss.
Under 4 minutes in regulation. Spotting up for 3, Austin misfires. Lubin with the rebound, and here comes R.J. Davis. Cadeau to the open man in the corner, back out to the trailing Trimble. Draws the contact, and they're going to count the basket, and a chance for 3.
There's Elliott Cadeau in that open side pick and roll. Watch the discard. Bye-bye. Now the finish at the basket for him, and then out in transition. You get Pitt in closeout. Seth Trimble, a little smooch, gets himself to the foul line.
Smith Center with Chris Spatola. I'm Doug Sherman. We've got ourselves a ball game. Pitt's been knocking down 3s in the second half. Carolina, good balance. 4 different Tar Heels in double figures. What will be the difference in the final 3 and change for you, Chris?
Well, I think the foul line, first and foremost. Big free throw here for Seth Trimble. And then any scrappy stuff. You know, neither team has done anything really on the offensive glass, but those second shots become big. This play out of the timeout, you know, both teams have done a nice job executing out of timeouts today. Pitt's got a chance to draw one up on this next possession. They had the lob dunk out of the last timeout.
Seth Trimble making his 4th start in a row, connects on the free throw that gives Carolina another lead, our 8th lead change of the second half. Austin puts it on the deck, picks up the dribble. Low to his right hand. Trying to get back to the left hand to shoot it, and the foul is called against Trimble.
Didn't need it. It was well defended. Like you said, you had him going to his right hand, which is what you want Lowe doing. And all you got to do, if you're Seth Trimble, you're athletic enough, just keep that up. And a nice job by Lowe, kind of embellishing and drawing that call.
And so they didn't get Trimble, Chris. It's on Drake Powell, who picks up his second as the defender.
Big free throws. This free throw line in these high leverage games won or lost at the line.
Pitt has the right guy at the stripe. The Panthers are 9th in the country as a team at 80% shooting foul shots, and Lowe is nearly 90% on the year. This will give him 13 points and give Pittsburgh the lead back. Rejects the screen. Lob it inside. Lubin comes down with it, puts it up and in, and the foul. Van Allen Lubin now with 17 points continues to do damage inside against Pittsburgh.
Well, this is how they started the game. You get the switch. Van Allen Lubin gets the smaller Jalen Lowe on him, and that's just too deep. He goes right up, and it's a bad foul. Carolina on one end with a bad foul, putting Lowe to the line, and then there, just give up that layup. And let's transition to offense. Bad foul.
Carolina high for Lubin this year. Most he scored in a Tar Heels uniform. Missed the free throw. Second defender gets the ball out of the hands of Lowe. Austin gives it back to him. 10 to shoot. Down the lane. Up. Ooh. Corey tried to throw it down. Couldn't. Carolina with it. Cadeau has it poked away by Leggett. Davis thought about the three. Now pulls up from 15. Little bit short. Big rebound for Corin. Pittsburgh has it down one. Corin sets the big screen. Now Lowe into the lane to the right hand. Banks it in. Panthers back in front.
A nice job putting the defender in jail, keeping him on his back, buying his time. And that is his first finish going right all day.
Corin's got 17 points. Lowe's got 15. Cadeau to Lubin. I think the big fella got a piece. Guillermo Diaz-Graham with a clean block up top.
He did a good job. He looked like he wanted to try to draw the charge and then just stayed big, used his size to force a tough shot over that length. Jalen Lowe, North Carolina's going to have to, off of these ball screens, get the ball out of his hands. Really nice job off of this, putting Seth Trimble in jail. Just got him on his back, and then Corin just seals off Lubin at the last second. And he finishes to his right. And here's his defense from, he wanted to charge, nope. And a nice job just being long and big, forcing a tough shot.
Yeah, when you're 7 feet and that long, that is good defense. Just stand and put your arms up.
From your lips, Doug Sherman.
Well, there's our reset. Both teams in the bonus. Pittsburgh now with only one timeout remaining. The ever-important possession arrow belongs to the Tar Heels. In this game, pitting two teams, according to Joe Lunardi, are in the next 4 out with a month to go in the regular season.
Whatever this is for Pitt, it's got to start with Jalen Lowe. You're in the bonus. Put the pressure on North Carolina to have to defend you off of the dribble.
Guillermo Diaz-Grand's pass is knocked away by Powell.
What a play by Powell. A basket-saving play.
Timeout, Carolina. Well, we will get you to a terrific NBC matchup. Illinois State at Northern Iowa. Here on ESPNU. Those two teams battling Bradley, Belmont, UIC. Everybody chasing Drake. Our Ben McCollum's done such a good job. We will get you there just as soon as we get done here in Chapel Hill.
Here, North Carolina sent 2 to Jalen Lowe off of the ball screen. Cam Corn was wide open. All you got to do, if you're Diaz-Graham, is complete that pass, you get a dunk. What a play by Drake Powell. He has come up huge in this second half. And it started with his defense.
Carolina led by 3 at halftime. They led by as many as 11 in the first half, but it's been close pretty much throughout. Pittsburgh used a 10-0 run late in the first half to make it a tight ball game. And they have been trading blows throughout the entire second half as we have seesawed back and forth. Hard to beat a February Saturday afternoon here at the Dean Smith Center. All the Carolina Blue fans, banners hanging up in the rafters, and a tight ball game with just over a minute to go. In the second half alone, Chris, we've had 9 ties and 11 lead changes.
It's been a heck of a game. There's a lot riding on this game for both teams when it comes to NCAA tournament implications. This has got to start with R.J. Davis. You know, run him on that flare they like, get him curling into the lane, and then if it breaks down, Elliot Cadeau's penetration has been a killer. You're in the bonus.
One minute left in the second half. Under 10 on the timer. Davis crosses over low. Step back long 2. Got it. Carolina retakes the lead.
Well, for most shooters, the percentages go down when you are shooting off of the dribble. Not R.J. Davis. He has taken a ton of shots off of the bounce today and come up big, and there's that matchup. You want Jalen Lowe on you. Davis got to his spot, rises up, and he drops it through. He is wet.
From what you've seen over the last 4 or 5 games and here this afternoon, do you feel like R.J. Davis is getting that 2023-24 mojo back?
Yes. I think R.J. Davis is at the point where he is saying, I'm not missing the NCAA tournament. I'm not going out like that. And I think all of the pressure he had on him coming in, it's a different dynamic, this team, that he was playing with last year. He's had a lot thrust upon him. I don't know if he was necessarily ready for it or this team was ready to complement him. I think all 3 of their guards all think they're the best player. That's the guy. And I think he has absolutely stepped his game up over the last 5. And I think he is ready to carry that forward.
This would be a quad 2 win for Carolina. And a nice piece on their tournament resume. For Pittsburgh, it's a quad 1 opportunity. Let's see how the Panthers respond. Corin, Leggett, and Lowe in the backcourt. Guillermo Diaz-Graham puts it on the floor. Leggett lost it. Lowe's got it. 10 on the shot clock. 30 seconds left in regulation. Lowe for the lead. No. Lubin had it. Back to Lowe, who puts it up. No. This time Lubin secures it out to R.J. Davis. And we've got a foul with 19.8 on the clock.
What a back and forth. Started with a great defensive possession. Just an excellent defensive possession here. You force a tough shot. And then Lowe gets it back, and you can get a better one. I don't think you had to rush that there. Pull it back out, reset, and get a better shot. You just kind of panicked in that moment. And there he goes.
The postscript to that sequence that Pittsburgh will think about if they lose this game is that their all-conference point guard just fouled out. And so now the Panthers bring their freshman Brandon Cummings back onto the floor for the final 19.8 seconds.
Well, it's 1-1, and you've got to be ready to rebound. This is not a good free throw shooter at the line. You cannot give up an offensive rebound. And then you do not need 3 yet. Well, we'll see what he does at the line here.
A 1-1 for the junior out of Orlando Christian Prep. Missed it. Pitt had it. Lubin knocked it away. And it's Carolina ball, but they will review it. So the all-important call on the floor is that it's Tar Heels basketball as we take another look.
Yeah, I think that's going to stay that way. It looked like Diaz-Graham hit it at the last second there. And this is the 3rd time today. Yeah, that's going to be State Carolina ball. It's the 3rd time today that Diaz-Graham has had an offensive rebound rather in his hands that he's had knocked out. And how about the free throw shooter, Van Allen Lubin, getting that ball back for his team.
And just a few moments, Chris, after he got 2 defensive rebounds rather, as they were keeping Pittsburgh at bay. Lubin has been so good. The scoring might be the headliner for him, the most points he's ever scored as a Tar Heel, but his work in other aspects has been just as critical. So they're working on getting the time as well on the video review.
Rule on the floor stands, white basketball with 18.3 on the clock.
John Gaffney letting us know, and then Eric Lewis letting the audience know here inside the Dean Dome. Coming up next, Illinois State will be taking on Northern Iowa.
They'll just make this hard inbounds pass, and then you're going to have to foul if you're Pitt. Carolina does have a timeout.
This looks like will be Carolina's 10th one-possession game of the season. Got to get it in. They do to Trimble, and there the foul is committed. Trimble's an 84% foul shooter. 3rd foul on Cummings. So Carolina got it into the guy they wanted. 5th best free throw shooter by percentage in the ACC. He and R.J. Davis both terrific. Lubin comes back in. Washington goes out. And it's kind of a carbon copy of where we were a minute ago when Lubin was at the line. Just a much better free throw shooter this time for the Heels. He did what Lubin did, and Pittsburgh's got a chance to win it. Leggett is going to use that last Pittsburgh timeout.
Well, you don't have the shot creator in Jalen Lowe. The rest of these guys are playoff guys. He's even Ish Leggett, who I think this play is going to be drawn up for. He's much better playing off of Lowe. But you've got to stay home. Got to be where Zach Austin is. And then we've also seen Pitt out of timeouts run that lob where you get that high screen, and they got Cam Corn rolling to the rim for a lob dunk in this second half. But having Jalen Lowe out of this game, it changes this final possession, obviously.
Well, Hubert Davis has spent all week in practice and really all season long preaching to his team about doing the little things. And if Carolina winds up losing this game, they will look back and see that in the second half, Chris, they were only 4 of 10 so far from the free throw line, including missing the front end of 2 1-and-1s in the last few seconds.
These games, Doug, it's, you know, these high leverage games, they are usually won or lost at that foul line. Important to keep in mind, Pitt does not have a timeout. So you've got to get the basketball in bounds. In these situations, that inbounds passer becomes the most important player on the floor.
As you see, Carolina has the only timeout remaining and also possesses the arrow. But Pittsburgh will have a chance to win it. 13.5 seconds without Jalen Lowe, who fouled out just a short while ago. So it'll be Zach Austin to inbound on the sideline alongside that Pittsburgh bench here at the Dean Dome. Austin, Cummings, Corin, Guillermo Diaz-Graham, a body goes flying. Leggett gets back up, got to get it in. Corin has it knocked away. Trimble keeps it alive. Still loose. Out of bounds. Pittsburgh basketball. Wow.
What denial. And with no timeout, Pitt had to get the basketball in bounds.
What a sequence.
What a layout.
You think these guys don't want it?
What a layout by Seth Trimble.
And so now Pittsburgh's task just got a little tougher, but they're fortunate to keep possession. Now they've got it in the backcourt with 7 seconds.
You got plenty of time to drive the basketball. Carolina does not going to want to foul. You're in the bonus. Drive the ball, get it up on the backboard.
Leggett, 5 seconds, 4 seconds. Leggett draws contact, puts it up. No. And Carolina survives. A game that 6 weeks from now we will look back at and say maybe that's the reason they got into the field of 68.
I think if you're Ish Leggett, you've got to come down the floor with more velocity. You're inbounding the ball essentially in the full court now. You've got to put the pressure on North Carolina's defense to have to defend you and defend your speed coming downhill. He hesitates a few times. He hesitates a few times. He ends up getting a good look in the paint, but it's off of that awkward foot, that goofy foot. Nice job by Elliot Cadeau, just, kind of staying as tall as he can, all 6 feet of him, to force a tough shot.
And you don't think there should have been a foul there on Cadeau?
No, not at that point in the game.
A lot of contact.
I don't think an official at that point's making a foul call like that.
Gotcha. Carolina opened up an early lead, gave it up in the second half, but hangs on to survive and pick up this huge bubblicious win over Pittsburgh, 67-63.